Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Podcast The Motion Picture. I want to say this is episode 31, right? That sound right? I don't know. I'm getting a lot of people shaking heads, nodding. Engen threw up a gang sign. Don't know what that's about. Hopefully, it doesn't come up again. Yeah, this is going to be episode 31. I just had to check. We've got Noah, Jack, Cole, Engen, and myself, Reid the Rock, on a full casted video here. Now, you're probably wondering, what are the circumstances where we all got together? And the answer is, it just kind of worked out in our schedules this time. Normally, it's hard. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, some
Wait,
of
by
us.
by working out, you mean we already rescheduled twice, and then it just so happened that the third
Well, it
rescheduling
worked out.
worked?
Yeah, it worked
It
out.
just worked out.
It's exactly what I mean. It worked out. So I don't
Oh,
recall if
sorry.
I was gonna say I don't recall if I watched a movie. We gotta listen. We gotta tone down our sports talk. It has been sports podcast after sports podcast, and like a mention, that's good and fun. But holy shit, we gotta bring it way down. I had people asking me about it. They were like, "Yeah, I just don't know if I can get through this episode because it's all sports." And I was like, "All right." But point taken. I know Noah's not going to give a shit, but I know the rest of you will like to hear from our fans, our multitudes of listeners. So just, be realistic that the people listening are not sports fans.
So we shouldn't bring up what the Brainards are both wearing right now and what they're both looking at.
We
And
can
what I'm
Anyone
also
knows?
looking at.
Wait,
Yeah,
Yep.
what
can
I
I quickly ask? I need to ask. Am I sport? How far ahead am I right now? Again, I'm at 12:40. There's 12:38.
I'm at
Oh,
13 exact.
oh my
Same
God.
as Noah.
I'm back ahead. I'm
Damn it.
30 seconds ahead.
Okay,
I have
audio
power.
listeners and
I
video
have
listeners, what's
power.
happening right now is everybody is watching the Vikings game. That's what's happening in this moment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Sunday night football.
throwing all of my big
Mhm.
heart-to-heart speech about no sports talk out the window. They're
Just
watching the Vikings.
disregard it. Disregard it
Disregard
entirely.
completely.
If
Yeah.
anything, viewers and listeners should blame the NFL for flexing this game.
Oh,
It's
this-
not.
This
Yep.
has been an ugly, ugly game. Oh my
It's been a
gosh.
terrible game.
Terrible.
I
Should we go
also
into the
think,
details?
yeah, well, time out. I actually kind of got it. I've been driving,
we
so I
go-
haven't gotten to hear details. So I kind of actually would like a detail, and then we're done. Then no details. So give
This is what
me
happens.
quick details, just brief. What's happening?
I'm 30 seconds ahead. We're on their 15, and it looks like we might score our first touchdown of the game.
It is 7-0 Colts. Minnesota has had an interception in the red zone, two missed field goals, and a fumble recovery for a touchdown.
Mhm.
Yep. That about
Mhm.
covers it.
Okay, well, that's better than I would have thought
we're in the
from
red
text
zone.
you guys sent. Yeah.
And the foul and the fumble recovery is an iffy one because it was a headshot. So
Yeah,
It
there's
looked
perhaps a
pretty
missed penalty
rough.
on there, unnecessary roughness. Touched him in the face.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Um, I don't remember if I watched any movies, but I have been watching a television show called Love is Blind. It's reality
Oh.
TV, so I don't know if it really fits in the mantra of our art. I will say there's so for those of you who don't know how the show works, is it's this experiment is love blind. These couples, well, these like 15 men, 15 women are in this experiment where they don't get to see each other. Well, the men and the women don't get to see each other. The men hang out with the men, and the women hang out with the women. And they go in these rooms, the men and the women, one on one, with a big wall between them. And they can talk to each other. They can't see each other. So they just talk, get to know each other, build these relationships up for like a week. And then finally they decide, all right, I love you. I want to get married to you because we're a perfect fit. Like the producers, I think, do a good job of tracking down people who will be good matches. And it works out normally. You get some solid matches. But then you get like as time goes on, after the week, they break out of the pots and then they get to go in the real world. And for like 3 weeks, they plan a wedding and they just live their life, see how it works out. They can call it off if they want. There's no pressure. They genuinely want them getting married, but no pressure. And as time goes on, normally outside of there, like it's like, oh, this isn't going to work out. In this particular season, though, like a couple of the couples are great. There's 5 couples, which is a lot. Normally, there's 1 or 2 that are going to try to work it out. There's 5 of them going on, like ludicrous levels of like what the fuck is wrong with you people? What is going on? Where like things are going okay, and then it turns out, oh, this guy's like a serial cheater who's texting random people for like I'm not gonna try to say any kinky shit's, good or bad, but just shit where it's like, bro, what the fuck? Like, where are you getting these ideas type of shit? And then he's like, I'm not the bad guy. It's like, what are you talking about? But it just seems to be this habit. We're not doing the Viking shit. I'm explaining, guys. We might listen, we might have to go televisions off because you've never seen Joe Rogan in the middle of this shit go, oh my God, my buddy Dana White just texted me. You don't see fucking Howard Stern being like, oh, I'm Howard Stern. I'm like 6'5". You don't see that shit. All right.
That
They're
was a really bad
professionals.
Howard Stern impression. You could do better than
That
that.
was exactly what he sounds and looks like and does. I'm literally Howard Stern, the second coming.
Go
Reid, it
Vikes.
sounds like you
Let's
really,
go.
really hate Love is Blind and you despise
Mm.
watching it.
Nah,
You know, I've
it's really fun. If you guys want to have fun, I'd say watch it. What, Cole?
no,
No,
I've,
no.
I've 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 seen it. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Billy
Are
and I
you
started watching it.
watching
Which season? Are you
US,
watching the newest
UK?
season?
We're watching US, but we're watching the latest season that's going on. Well, I think
Yeah,
Jade.
yeah. Like I'm with you. A lot of the couples on it seem really kind of weird. If
Yeah,
like I'm
like
with you. Like
it
a lot of the
starts
people.
it
It's
starts off the season, they're all like kind of okay as they get out of the
yeah.
pods, but then like it's quickly like, what the fuck's going on? Why are these
I
people so weird?
yep. I haven't. I've only watched I think one episode with them, episode and a half of them outside of the pods.
Mhm.
And yeah, the weirdness is starting to kind of unfold. There's just people that just like that one couple. I think it's the blonde and like the football player,
Oh yeah, I agree.
Hannah and Nick. Hannah and Nick, they just don't like each other.
They do
They
not like each
clearly
other at
they
all.
clearly don't like each other at all, and
Oh,
yet they still agreed to go on this vacation with each other to try it
yeah.
out. It's crazy.
And
So,
I feel bad because as time, I did not like Nick. As time goes on, I'm in Nick's camp because Hannah's
oh, you're in
just,
his
dude, you got to keep watching because as time
okay.
goes on, you'll be like, this guy's just like, he's kind of starting to try to make this work. And she is relentless and mean. And then they like, oh, okay, I won't spoil too much. I
Yeah.
will say one thing. One of the craziest things is this couple. Things are going really well for a particular couple. I'm not going to say who's who, but I will say the act because it doesn't spoil anything. At one point, we kind of get this big cut where it's like, something big's happened and we, the audience, are not privy to this information. So what's going on? There's been a big fallout. Turns out the woman has discovered that the man has not one, not two, but three children. He
No
secretly
way.
has had three children. But then what we find out, and she's known this information, then we, the audience, find out the three children are actually from sperm donations to a lesbian couple that he's friends with who can't conceive. And they've just gone through this process and he doesn't know them. He doesn't know what they look like. He's not a part of their lives. He just donated sperm. And she like is like, yeah, he has three kids. And he's like, I don't fucking know them. Like, I'm sorry that this happened, but like they're not mine. Like they came from me, but so it gets
Was it
spicier.
artificial insemination or did he
You
sleep
old
with one of
horn
the
dog,
lesbians?
Engen, get your mind out of the gutter. What are you doing? I don't know. I don't think we really get that information.
That's quite a revelation, though. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The love is truly blind in that situation.
Did you see that the new season is set in Minneapolis?
Yes, and
So,
I'm upset. Maddie and I have talked in length about we should have both tried to get on the show and then create wild characters to play so we end up paired with each other and then we get to keep driving this fucking nutcase storyline of being in love with each other.
that would have
But
been funny.
yeah, I just I think I was meant to produce that show. I've got a lot of ideas and a lot of traumatic, abusive shit. I would be willing to throw at a bunch of random people trying to find love. I know it's not a great look for me, but it's who I am. Anyway, so that's what I've been watching. I don't know about you fellas. Well, I know what you're watching right now. Noah said he had a television show that I've probably watched. What's up?
I do. So over the last 36 hours, I watched a season of a show in its entirety. And it started because I was watching the show Hot Ones on YouTube, which has
Can I?
come up on the podcast before. Yes,
How,
Jack?
how the fuck do you have time to do that in 36 hours.
What do you
I
mean?
That's
For the
impressive as
weekend.
shit in our time. I'm
It's
just
just one
saying.
season.
It
I'm
could
just
be
saying.
it could be short season.
Yeah.
Exactly. Short form
Are they
television.
are they are they 20 minutes or an hour
Yeah,
long?
what's up?
they're
What's up?
they're about 35 minutes per
How
episode.
many episodes in a season?
Well, why
10.
don't you just tell us the show?
Okay, that's not bad.
Because I'm telling the story. So, I was watching Hot Ones. I'm 3 weeks behind, but for those that don't know, I think I try to watch like every Hot Ones episode. I'm a big fan. So I watched the Peter Dinklage one. Peter Dinklage came off as an asshole to me.
Oh.
Irrelevant to this story, but that's how he came off to me.
Oh, you watched Game of Thrones.
No, I've seen that. I
Was he an
then
angry elf?
Yes, I then watched the Ali Wong episode, and she's talking about the show she did with Steven Yuen or Yuen for
Beef.
whatever from Minari.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Beef.
oh, I vaguely remember
Yeah.
hearing about that.
I know how you watched it in 35 or 36 hours.
I watched the show Beef,
Mhm.
and I watched it like that, and I loved it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. So have you
Mhm.
guys seen that or no?
I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
it.
It's been on my watch list for a hot minute because
Damn.
so you have to understand when it came out, I didn't have access to Netflix and I refused to pay for it.
Yeah.
So it just kind of sat in my background. And now that I have Netflix again, it's kind of just sat on my watch list. So I do need to watch
Yeah.
it.
You
I
need to
really
start it.
wanted your opinion on it, Jack, tonight.
I know what it's about.
About
I'll be a
beef.
very opinionated person
About
tonight
beef.
if you need me to.
Yeah, the way that the characters just have this never-ending step after step of adding beef against one another. It's wonderful.
It's insane.
Mhm.
I don't know, like the character work in this show is so cool. Like there's the two leads, Steven Yuen and then Ali Wong are both great. But then you have like the lead's brother who I just love, and then the husband who's also a phenomenal character.
Yeah.
And you have the rich lady and her like wife that is like the character work in this show. I was like, every character is memorable, everyone is interesting. I just was like blown away by the writing of this show. Like honest to God, it was like, I mean,
No, you're
yeah,
speaking my language. It is. I'm with you 100%
yeah,
too. You said
yeah.
everything. What about? I think it's like the perfect like third act twist episodes too. Like every episode just is like
Yeah.
something you're not expecting, and then
Yes.
they just throw it at you, and it's like, okay, now I gotta watch the next one.
Yep.
Like,
Yes.
it's so good for that.
And it always makes sense. It's always like, oh
It
yeah,
fits.
that could have happened. Yeah.
Yep. What do you think of the soundtrack?
Oh, dude.
Would it blow you away?
Oh my God, Smashing Pumpkins to close
Yeah.
out the show. I was
So good.
I was so excited. It was
When they
phenomenal.
played what's that, the first episode, when he's running away from her and they're playing what's that song by oh shoot, not Incubus. Drive. Steven
Yes.
Ewan sings Drive,
Where he's
but
actually singing it. Yeah.
that was sick. Well, the
Super
first
cool.
episode, this first episode ends with that one song, and it's kind of like a play on the scene where it's like, let me go on Spotify for a second. It's so funny. I burst out laughing. I'm like, I love that song, and I hadn't heard it in so long.
I'm sure I'll remember when you say it, but there's also like, there's an episode that opens with him just singing Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
And, like,
yep.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
I think
well, if you're about to play Drive by Incubus, this is going to be something incredible.
We're I think also gonna get in trouble if we play it on the Spotify. They'll get us
an actual song. Yeah,
they will get us. I was gonna say something else I like about the characters is I believe he plays a Korean person and she plays a Japanese person, and I like that they had those details. I like that. It's not really like some defining bit of character for them, but I like that it does matter in a way for these people that it's known. That's sweet in an American show. It's sweet that we get Asian American characters they give a shit about who they are.
Yep, absolutely.
Instead of just like, hey, look at that Asian fella. It's like, I'm I'm Korean. That's it. It's never talked about again.
Reid, Reid, didn't you watch the City Walk and Shitty Sushi episode of South Park? Come on, that representation's been there for ages.
Yeah, it's all-inclusive South Park.
It's the song "The Reason" by like Hoobastank or
That's
whatever.
right. Yep.
Yeah, I burst out laughing when they played that song. So I
Yep.
was like, yeah, that fits so well. And
Yep.
I hadn't heard that song in so long. It was so funny.
Yep. That was awesome. There's
So
also
this,
there's also an episode that ends with the song Machine Head by Bush, which is the song the Minnesota Wild used to warm up to. So I
Hmm.
remember being at the XL Energy Center and seeing like the Wild pass the puck around to that song. And then it ended an episode and I was like, oh fuck yeah.
Sick.
That's awesome.
There's like two things I want to talk about in there. One, I don't think is too telling of any story bits, but Stephen Young's character from time to time deals with his stress and his anger by eating. And we get they're like intrusive scenes where he's just slamming Burger King burgers.
Yep.
I don't know how you guys feel watching that, and I'm not, I'm not gonna say this trying to be judgmental, but I struggle a bit when I see people that cope through their stress and their emotions by eating and overeating. Like for me, it's like that's really hard to watch. It just hits me in a really particular place. I don't know why. It has since I was a very small child. I just would see that and I'd be like, man, that fucking blows for them. That sucks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
watching Stephen Young hit that, it's like, Jesus Christ, that's exactly the last thing I want to see a person do to themselves in a way. Like, ugh, it's just hard. And
I want I want to say this is coming from people who have stopped at every single fast food restaurant in our hometown and tried to order something from it in one night. So
it's serious. We know what we're talking about.
we know what's happening here.
There's also it's like, I suppose it's dark comedy. I don't even want to call it a comedic bit because
But
it's
the show is very funny. Like
oh God,
It
yeah.
is really funny.
It's a hilarious show. No, there's another bit though. I think I'm gonna say it because it's right at the start. Stephen Young, his character right from the get-go, is attempting suicide, but he's doing it by smoke inhalation, carbon
Yep.
monoxide poisoning. But he's gone to Home Depot and has bought 4 gas grills and is in
Yep.
his bedroom, got them turned up all the way, and is trying to kill himself like that. And then after it doesn't work, he takes them back with the receipt and he tries to get a refund. It's just so ridiculous.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of there's a scene right at the start of the movie. Or the show? What's that Elijah Wood show where he's got the dog? Winifred?
Wilfred.
Wilfred, is that's the FX one when it's the guy dressed up in the dog suit, right? And no
Yeah.
one's in on it except him who
It's
acknowledges
just
that this is just
Elijah.
a guy in a dog
I
costume.
think I've seen just about all that show because I love Elijah Wood. And I was like, I want more Elijah Wood. And I watched this show and I was like, you know what? I'm going to stick with Lord of the Rings Elijah Wood for now. And it was a weird show. Anyway, right from the get-go, his character in that show, Elijah Wood's trying to kill himself. And he mixes this drink, this with like rat poison and shit in there. And he's like mixing it up. But then he's like reading the nutritional facts of like the powder he's put in there. And it's just such a funny thing of like, why would you care? Why would you be concerned about
Right.
what you're consuming? You're gonna kill yourself.
Right.
Yeah. It's just some people they write good jokes.
So Beef came out 2023, limited series. It won 8 Emmys in the limited series category, as best series, best lead actors, a lot of other stuff. I'm definitely not as high on the series as you guys. I had this at out of my top 15 shows for 2023. It was at number 16.
Mm.
And
I don't think I
just can't.
watched 15 shows in 2023.
Definitely not
That's
me.
unfortunate.
Not me.
Unfortunate, guys. You can check out my list on my Letterboxd for all you guys. It's all ranked and rated in different categories. This actually, when I get outside of my top 10, I don't even list the numbers anymore. I just go into categories. So I have outside of top 10, it's honorable mentions, and then really fun to watch category, and then glad I watched category. And B fell into glad I watched it category.
All right.
It's just hard for me to watch or it's just not as fun of a show or story when people just make all these, obviously bad decisions and choices, and they just make their situation worse, and it just everything folds and encompasses on top of
Self-inflicted.
itself. Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
hard for me to like really find enjoyment in in that kind of storytelling. Um, there was a lot of really cool creative stuff though, especially I think it was the finale when they're in the desert.
Mhm.
Hey,
Yeah,
Yep.
that whole
hey,
Hey,
it's fine, Jack.
careful.
hey.
It's
Hey,
fine.
come on. I.
We got listeners, Engen. Don't be ruining shows for the listeners.
You just
And
ruined the final
Jack.
episode for me because I know it takes place in the desert. So I'm not even gonna watch it now because
What if I
you just ruined
told
it for
you
me.
the desert was the desert of Mars?
Nah,
Well, like I know what Engen's saying because I also struggle with like shows where the lead is a piece of shit, or where people are making horrible decisions.
Do you watch shows about yourself?
I do.
I mean,
And
did you like Breaking Bad?
for some reason it didn't bother me in this one. I was like, I still like all you guys, despite being obvious like pieces of shit. I still like understood why they were doing what they were doing a little bit. So yeah.
If I were going to give a show a shout out, I would give it to Beef. If I were going to give a show the opposite of a shout out, where I just prefer nobody knows about it, I would say MTV's Scream show. Don't watch that. It's
I
like
forgot that came out.
anti-recommendation here.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth a watch. It's definitely enjoyable. Like I
Yeah.
said, glad I watched it.
MTV Scream?
No.
No beef.
No.
Yeah, that's cool that you keep track of the shows you watch. I do a terrible job of keeping, like I know what shows I watch, but I do a terrible job of remembering when I watched them and what year I watched them in. Like I don't remember all that.
No, there's very few shows I remember like waiting for every week. One was Shogun. The other one was the newest Game of Thrones. And then
You're talking
prob
2024 now.
yeah, I know. I dude,
Mhm.
I could if you told I couldn't tell you what I watched in 2023. Like I gotta be honest.
Dude, I've been logging since 2021,
I
movies
guess
and shows
for
that
me,
really.
I think it's hard for me as well because when it comes to like the limited series shows or like kind of bigger shows, that like House of the Dragon, an example, or Beef, like it's like I watch it right when it comes out, so I either know when it is or it's a show that doesn't need to be recorded. Like I say, like Community, for example. That's a show I watched probably for about 2 years straight without stopping again and again and again on repeat. And so it's like I don't really know if I would need to record Community.
Right.
I do have to ask, did you finish that Uzumaki show?
No, not yet. I'm
Okay.
waiting.
Okay. I want your opinion on that.
Yeah. Say again. Long time listener, first time commenter here. He had actually he's not first time commenter. He had mentioned gotta disagree with Jack's take on the Uzumaki animation. You got some heat coming your way.
Wow.
The animation is going down over the course of the season, and that is the whole point.
I think he's thinking too hard into it.
I don't know.
I think it was a something they ran out of time with and kind of put money in different places. It's an Adult Swim show, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm gonna
They,
have to watch it. Dude, I when I got home, I put on the television back up in Rapids because it was late. I couldn't sleep. I was putting on television and I had saw something. I was gonna call your ass out. I was gonna fucking be livid on this because you got information wrong. It was Uzumaki, new, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, what the fuck? There's more? Jack was wrong, but I was looking at it. It was like broadcasted like a week prior. So it had
yeah.
already premiered. You were right. It was an old episode, but it just the
Okay.
TV was saying new. I was like, what gives? Misinformation. When are we going to start living in a time where our television sets are telling us the truth? You know what I mean? Oh, hey, in Rapids today before I left, on the highway, on one side of the highway, we had a bunch of Trumpsters. On the other side of the highway, we had a bunch of Harris supporters, and to be fair, I flipped out both sides.
You had no hands on the wheel. That is not good.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Speaking of TV shows, are any of you guys watching The Penguin right now?
No,
No.
I've got to though. I've got
You
to.
guys are doing yourself a disservice right now. Special on TV currently.
I gotta watch it, then I gotta
That,
log it.
that's what my dad told me the other day. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. You know what I
My
need?
dad's been watching it, so get him on the
Sorry.
show.
If your
Um,
guys' fathers were Batman villains, what villain would they be?
Who's the one who has diabetes and is overweight?
I think Clayface, actually.
There you go.
oh my God.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's too tough. I feel like my dad
I mean,
isn't really.
yeah, it's tough. Maybe the penguin, honestly. Like,
Oh, wait, let me repeat that. Not a self-inflicted diabetes. So
So, oh.
that must be Clayface.
Yeah, I just don't think my dad personally fits any of them. Like he's got the comedy of like some of them, but then he's got the seriousness of others, and it's like he doesn't have
right,
like he's not an absolute kind of man, my father. He's
right.
he's versatile with his
I see your
villainy.
dad as Ra's al Ghul.
Okay. Actually, you know what? That probably fits better than most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of tough when your dad kind of looks like Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Like,
Actually, my
He
dad is
is
Batman.
Michael Keaton.
He's Batman.
Yeah, that's why we couldn't place him. He's the anti-hero.
he literally
Exactly.
he literally is he's literally Michael Keaton.
Shawshank.
Wow, what do we got
I think
here?
that's
What
I
do we
think that's
got
Dustin.
here?
We have a
I
wild
think
What
that's
Dusto
is
in
a
the background.
that?
that's
Are
a
we
Dusto
picking
on the
up
case.
I'm
Dustin?
sorry. Are we in the
Dusto's on the case.
studio or not?
We
Dusto
don't
is
have that
on the
money.
case.
Dustin's here.
Well, should I bring up a movie that I watched?
Oh, I
Sure.
don't see why not. Let's do it.
I watched
No.
the
No.
The Vikings did just score.
Nice.
I watched the
Nice.
OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Oh,
few days before Halloween.
good for
Yeah,
you.
wait. I need to ask. I just need to bring something up. Again, I don't want to say when I got your text saying, should I watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? And I went, yeah, it's good. And then you said something about, but is it that good? I don't think I've ever actually felt like you have to look up what you actually told me,
I'm looking
but
at it right now.
you asked me something about it, and then like you double checked. Like I was like, I can't remember what you said, but it was along the lines of, is Texas Chainsaw Massacre like worth watching or is it that good? And I said, yeah, it's the grandpappy of slashers. Like you have to watch it.
I was like, "Have you seen it?" And you're like, "Of course." And I was like, "Is it worth it?" You're like, "Yes, it's worth it." And then I was like, and then I said, "Dude, Late Night with the Devil's on Hulu." Like,
Yeah, there you
dude,
go.
dot.
Really
And you still
pushing
didn't
it.
watch it.
Yeah, no, I don't have Hulu.
I gotta watch it too. We gotta get Hulu going over here. I love that movie. I love even more than Texas Chainsaw Massacre the first one, which again, can't stress, I love it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is even better.
Oh shit.
What's that fella's name? Dennis Hopper's in it. And
Oh.
boy gee, does Dennis Hopper fucking deliver. It's like imagine in the movie Blue Velvet, I don't remember the name of his character, the psychopath. Imagine that, but a good guy.
Wow.
That's kind of what he is. Not like he's some pervert like in that movie. He's just the energy is like he's balls to the wall. Is gonna fuck up the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family.
Do you
Holy
remember
cow.
in Blue Velvet when he's like, what's his line? He's like, Daddy wants to fuck.
Daddy wants. Yeah, that is it.
I still stand on my statement that that's a
Ugh,
great movie I never want to watch again. Like I
right.
stand on that statement. I don't
Right.
like it. It's a great movie. I don't like it. I'm
I
just saying.
I
If
want to
you can
watch.
if you
I
can understand that train of thought.
I want to watch it with Maddie, but I don't want her introduction to the old David Lynch Kyle MacLachlan deal to have to be Blue Velvet. I want it to be Twin Peaks when he shows up for her.
Mine was
Because
Blue Velvet.
yeah, that movie's just unpleasant. I love
Mine
it.
was How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think
Okay.
Dave I think the first
I guess
I
same
think the
boat.
first David Lynch movie we watched was Cole was like, "Hey, you guys want to watch Eraserhead?" And me and Reid were like, "Yeah, why not?" And then we stopped speaking for about 2 weeks.
He's like, "Do you want a family movie? Eraserhead."
Movies, yeah, it's awesome. What are you guys talking about? It was amazing. You liked it.
No, I did like it. It just is like, man, you put me in a tough spot. Like, I love my Buick,
Yeah,
but Jesus Christ, isn't that something?
it was awesome.
Uh,
Yeah.
like I love my childhood, but like, damn, like I don't know if I'm going back into it.
Right.
Well, we've digressed a little.
We
Engen,
have.
would you like to speak about Texas Chainsaw
Yeah,
Massacre?
sorry.
Yeah, my favorite part is just the cinematography, especially all their long shots, just wide angle long shots,
Hmm.
really getting um the you know West Texas scenery, incorporating, getting the full 70s vibe. I mean, just with, everyone just hopped in the van with the hitchhikers, with, just you know, yeah, just mixing the West Texas with 70s, and it's just the perfect, um like, just makes you think how terrifying it was to actually like live in a time in a place like that, where
Eerily
there
empty.
is nobody there. You can barely get to the next gas station. There's you know there's only a few houses in the 100 square miles. It's like you don't know who's living out there, and it's
Hmm.
just the 70s. There's no phones, there's no nothing. It's just, yeah, it could be terrifying, and especially in this part of Texas it was.
The opener for that movie for me is a selling point on why I don't even kind of slow down when there's a hitchhiker on the side of the road. The
Yeah.
hitchhiker at the start of that movie, he makes like the rest of the first act incomparable for it. Like it's unbalanced to me in my mind because when he shows up and just is sitting in there weird and starts cutting on himself, it's like, holy fuck, this is weird. Like
Yeah.
I don't like this guy.
Can I
And then
can I
it's
make
kind
a
of
comment?
peaceful
Oh,
after that for a
sorry.
little while. That's it.
Can I make a comment about Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Speak your truth, girl.
It is one of the few movies that you can actually feel the griminess when you're watching it,
Gross.
and it is genuinely an unsettling movie when you can feel
Hmm.
the just like how dirty it is. You're
Well,
just like, what? Ugh,
they just do
ugh.
extreme close-ups on corpses and bones and skeletons and everything. It's just like, yeah, it doesn't make you feel good
I
doing
Yeah,
that.
really enjoy the deep character that each of the family kind of gets. Like it's not like you're like miles into their psyche, but you just each of them have like a background, a personality that's different from one another. Like the head of the family, Cook, if you call him the head of the family, doesn't kill. He doesn't like the killing. He just likes to cook them. Like that's his thing. And he kind of gets in hot water with that from Hitchhiker. And Hitchhiker's just constantly on his case. And it's just this weird vibe where it's like even at the families coming together at the dining room table to enjoy the meal, it's like these people are so fucking off their axis that there's not like a calm, let's enjoy this. We got our kills, we got everybody. And it's like everybody's unsettled. Nobody is calmed down. The calmest fucking guy is Leatherface.
The
also
Chainsaw Massacre.
that the final shot, it looks so good when
Him
he's spinning
swinging
that
it.
chain. Yeah, it just looks good. It's hard to comprehend when
When
Yeah.
he's
someone
like,
when you say one of the most beautiful shots on film is from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and people look at you like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck are you talking about?" And you're like, "No, this is genuinely like a very
Yeah.
good looking shot."
No,
when
As
he's spinning the chainsaw in the road at the
yeah,
Yeah,
end.
it looks so good. It
with that
is hard to
sunset,
explain.
the
Yeah,
sunrise.
yeah.
yeah.
As far as classic slashers go, I don't think there's a shot that really beats that. Maybe the end of Season of the Witch with the red sky, but like him swinging that chainsaw is fucking thrilling and beautiful.
Yeah. I don't think I've said like anything on it yet, but I also love this movie.
It's probably enough
And
out of you.
it I know you guys hear me talk a lot, but like it's super important to the movies that we love and that we talk about. Like this movie kind of is the catalyst for like a whole genre that we followed. And I don't remember, is it 71 or 73? I think it's like
74.
74. It's like early 70s, and it's a movie that genuinely pushes boundaries. And like the opening credits alone are so gross. Like you said the word grimy, Jack. Like it is. It's just like it's a really kind of one of a kind movie. And I think it's a little underrated because of the sequels. And I'm not talking about two, I've never seen two, but like the remakes of our lifetime, like it's just kind of seen as another one of the franchise, Texas Chainsaw.
Mhm.
But the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a really important movie, and it's really, really good. I think.
I think it's a great point saying that the remakes, however many there's been, has taken down its name for sure. Then that's I definitely avoided it
I'll say it's
until
wrong
now
for me to have
because of
just
that.
said it's bad. They are inconsequential to Texas Chainsaw. They don't matter. They're nothing compared to the originals.
Because
Right.
there's what
One,
is
two,
there two?
three, I know.
There's two actual sequels, right?
Two sequels to the first one, yeah. And
Yeah,
then
and
we
then
get a
there's two
remake
remakes.
and then a
Yeah,
Netflix one that I watched half of it and I was like, there's nothing here.
because that one came out in like what 2018. That one's pretty new.
Yeah.
Like, and it just kind of like disappeared.
Came and went.
Yep.
Netflix
Yeah.
original.
2022.
2022? Are
You
you
shut the fuck
fucking
up. No,
sure
you're
about
not.
Wow.
that?
You're
No
lying
way
to
is
us.
that 2022. I was running in the UMD gym at one point watching a chunk of it. Like, no. No. I don't like time. Time's sucky. Fuck. Um, Something cool, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is fine. It's not nearly as great as 1 and 2. Something I want to say about number 2 though is this grossness meter you guys feel with the first one. You'll get that in number 2. Not, I guess a little maybe less gross and a little more kind of a heavy metal type of a movie compared to the classic rock of Texas Chainsaw 1. Now number 3 is you get a new family in Texas Chainsaw 3. It's still in that universe, but you get new family and a character in the movie played by Viggo Mortensen. So pretty fucking
Wow.
cool.
In 3.
In 3, he shows up in it. He's good too. I think his name is Tex, if I remember right.
Mm.
A
Nah,
Texas and Texas
some
Chainsaw Massacre.
something dumber than that. To quote Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's Austin Butler. Anyway,
No,
what?
it's not.
What's Brad Pitt saying it? But
Yeah, I was gonna
Tex is,
say.
yeah, Tex is the guy. Anyway, sorry, enough pandering to our Quentin Tarantino feet lovers in our audience. You see, Quentin Tarantino came out and said he will never watch the new Dune movies.
No.
Yeah,
That's
he did.
weird.
Yeah.
Something about
This,
him watching.
He watched David Lynch's and he was like, I don't need to see that story again. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you asshole?
Yeah, I
Weird.
feel like that's just like to get attention.
That's
Yeah.
annoying. That's
I
Mhm.
will say,
That's like hearing
uh,
Beethoven and being like, I'm not listening to classic rock. I heard a piano once.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I will say that the first Dune movie wouldn't be as good. I don't think I'd hold it
Sounds
as good
good.
as it is if the second movie didn't come out. If you get what I mean by that.
You what?
Because the first movie kind of ends like in the middle. Like, you know what I mean? The first Dune just kind of ends. Like
It does kind of
like
end, but I
you
mean,
you know
it's set
but you
up
get
for
you get
number
what I
2.
mean by that, right? Like
You
Mhm.
it's
said
kind of like
it's
it's kind of like the newest Spider-Verse movie. Like the
Mhm.
second Spider-Verse movie is unfinished because it ends going into the third movie and it doesn't really have a a true like definitive climax like ending.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
it's a
think
cliffhanger.
that's with the same with the first Dune.
so you said it's getting knocked down because it's
Yeah,
not
it's
like a
knocked
true.
down.
That's why you have to
Yeah.
take it as a trilogy. You can't
Mhm.
just,
And
yeah.
I
I
get
think
that.
It's tough to say.
I want to say as far as trilogies go, you get Sam Raimi's Spider-Man as a trilogy. They all stand up one by one. Even the Lord of the Rings, which is one big story. The movies each tell their own story and end.
I agree.
So I
Mhm.
You need to have
yeah,
complete
I think
movies.
we're okay. I think
Yep.
we're okay saying that
and
Dune one's
and
Mhm.
hurting.
even
I think
then, I'd even go further with Dune 2, because Dune 2 also ends with a little bit more definitiveness, but it also goes him starting a global, like, universal war. And then
Mhm.
it just ends. It's like, oh, look. It's like,
So
okay.
how is the Lord of the
that
Rings different than Dune movies? How does those have more of a story and end with a better cap?
And
Is that what you're
end
here's
in
saying?
it all, the Fellowship of the Ring movie ends with the end of the Fellowship of the Ring. The Two Towers movie ends with the capture of Orthanc, ending the Two Towers because now the good guys have one of the Two Towers, and then the Return of the King ends with the Return of the King. All of these stories get told in full. That's what happens. Whereas in Dune, Dune 1 ends with
Yeah, they're making a
nothing's
movie off of
changed.
one book. He's splitting one
yeah.
book into three movies.
And he can do that. And that's what I'm
Or
going to go ahead and
I
Actually,
guess
say.
it's
one
it's
book into
it's
two
Two
movies.
movies.
yeah.
Dune Messiah is coming out.
As far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned, this is a duology. This isn't a trilogy. I'm not even going to consider
Yeah.
Messiah part of this.
See, and that's, I'm not saying he's
Eh,
not doing that. I'm just saying that when he does that, it fails. He didn't
Yeah.
do what he needed to do with that. If he really wanted it to be that, he didn't do that. And maybe his goal was not to make a trilogy where the movie ends and that's the end of this story. Because it's not the end of the story. We're just getting into the story. We're halfway through the fucking story by the end of Dune 1 come around. Dune 2 come around. We get to the end of that, and it's like, all right, that's the end of this chunk of story. So yeah, you're right. He's not doing what the Tolkien Peter Jackson
Here's
experience is. And it's clear that he doesn't do that. I don't know what his goal was.
I mean, you can say it doesn't have a better cap or doesn't have a better.
It doesn't have a better cap.
Yeah, you can say
It's
that, but I don't
yeah,
think
I
it
am
can
saying
take
that
away
because that's what
from the
happened.
movie itself.
I think it does though.
It does take away. It
You
takes away
don't
from the
get
story. The creation of
yeah.
the movie doesn't, I guess, get affected because that's the medium of the storytelling. But the actual story itself is hindered. There's not a real there's not a real end to the Dune story at the end of Dune 1, I guess. You get evolution in the character. You do get that same classic plot diagram of rising action, climax falling, and then you get resolution. You get that with the big fight in the end. Like that's the climax. But the overall story of what's happening on the planet Dune, there's nothing by the end of it. There's not really a resolution. It's just Paul Atreides goes into the desert. That's the resolution at the end of Dune 1. Whereas the resolution at the end of Spider-Man 1 is Spider-Man beats his first villain. Willem Dafoe dies. Spoiler alert. At the end of Fellowship of the Ring, the Fellowship breaks. Boromir, the character, Fellowship member, dies off, and everybody goes off their own way on their own path. Whereas the end of Dune 1, it's like
Yeah,
Dune.
and I agree with that sentiment. I think the new Dune movies have been slightly like impacted to me because the movies don't feel like individually sound on their own. I think they're great and I like watching them.
And I'm not trying to say
Yeah,
that they're not awesome. I'm not trying to say that
right.
they're not great. They're for
But
me, there are a trilogy, but they're not their individual films. They're trilogy.
I agree. Yep.
I don't know, this
Yeah.
is a hot take. Dune is fun. I like the story, but Dune to me is more of a technical feat than it is a actual storytelling feat. I'm
Sure.
just I
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I'll say something about Dune story wise, I guess where I'm in your camp with that. I do think it's great storytelling. Something I am in your camp with is it's really a lot like Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 4, where it's like right out of the book with shit, just fresh out of the book from what I've read.
Oh no, I remember reading because I was reading the first Dune. I was when the first Dune came out, I was reading Dune, and
Mhm.
I stopped when the movie ended, and I was like, "There's still like five, like this isn't even halfway through the book."
Mhm.
Like, I was like, they could have gone further with this, or even so, like, there's better places to end this movie than it is where
Mhm.
it's ending.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I guess something else I'll say is the adaptation quality of the Dune movies is, I think, very proper. It's very well done. It's like,
Oh, it's good.
yeah, it's pretty close to like a 1-to-1 ratio. At least from what I've read. I haven't read all the first Dune book. I'm a slow reader with that
Yeah.
because I'm bored. Anyway, but when it comes to Lord of the Rings, I think Lord of the Rings, the movie, is a fucking god awful adaptation of Lord of the Rings, the story. Fucking terrible, but I love it. Like they're some of my favorite movies. And it took a long time after reading the books to like settle down my fucking book nerdyism and just kind of drop the high horse of fucking, oh, I read
Reid,
Tolkien. What?
Reid, we were in Miss Byers' class in seventh grade, and you would be reading, I think it would be Fellowship. like during
Yeah.
SRI, and like you would be shitting on the books the whole time.
Well, that's
And I
because I
have
was in
yet to
seventh grade.
read them because of you
I
in
would
that
really
time.
recommend reading them. I was in seventh
I have
grade.
them. I have them.
I
At
would
one
s-
point, I will.
I would say by seventh grade, my frontal lobe was maybe 10% developed. It was a long process for me to get to where I
But
am
I mean, it was
today.
funny because
I
you
I
had the
still I
same
still have a
sentiment though, where it
See,
was like,
but for me back then it was because the movies were right. And when I was reading the books, I was like, these books don't get the fucking movies. These books suck ass compared to the movies. And then I read the books. I'm like, oh my God, the movies have like like 1% of detail as the books because there's so much in the books. And then it took a long time. I dropped all that and I was like, you know what? As far as fucking movie storytelling goes, you can't tell the fucking Tolkien Lord of the Rings. Nobody wants to watch the Tolkien Lord of the Rings. That's boring as shit to watch. So we get the best of both worlds. We get the best trilogy ever made and the best books ever written. Like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
we get to I'm trying to go back and figure out how we got to Dune.
Don't
But
worry about that. Let's just talk Lord of the Rings now for the rest of the podcast. No, I'm kidding.
I would because I did watch Return of the King like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah,
But
I gotta watch those again. How did actually though, for real, how did we get to Dune? Did you just drop that Dune was
I,
awesome?
I didn't bring it up actually.
how did we get to Dune?
Who
We'll
I
have to
think it
told
was
listen to
you,
Jack.
this.
Jack just like
Yeah,
came
go
out
listen
hot
back.
take. I don't think Dude is a good story.
Yeah, that's what he did.
No, no,
So
there was
random.
So
something
Jack,
got us to Dune. Something got us to do. You know what it was? It
I don't
was
like sand.
we went from
Texas
Quentin
Chainsaw.
Texas
Tarantino.
Chainsaw 2 to Quentin
Yeah.
Tarantino to
It
Dune.
was
There we
me.
go.
It's
There
my
we
There it
go.
fault.
is.
I'm the
There we
mole.
go. So that's a chain. That's a chain
Yeah.
reaction right there. That's a
Yeah.
Also,
butterfly
I'm the
effect.
spy. To quote
he
General
calls
Ed.
himself like a lover of Hollywood. It's like you can't just like hate on
No,
those
he's
movies
not a
and say you're not gonna watch them.
Bro fucking hates modern Hollywood. Bro came out and he was like, yeah, the 90s and 2000s were the worst movies ever made. The only thing worse than 90s and 2000s are the 2010s. Like, bro fucking hates modern Hollywood. He likes
Yeah.
fucking Errol Flynn and Burt Reynolds.
I remember his favorite movie of the year one year was Crawl. That movie where the alligators like attack. And he was like, that
Mhm.
was the best movie I saw this year.
I
No,
saw
like,
Your
no, it
face.
Super
wasn't.
funny.
Yeah.
wow. I saw a reel on my Instagram. It was actually Mark Maron in talking about a movie. He was passionate about a movie, and he has me sold, and I got to watch it. He talked about a movie in the '80s called Roar. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, that's the one with all the
With the
lions.
The
lions.
lion equivalent of Crawl, in which this
Yeah.
family that owned three big lions that were trying to teach them to live with their kids and were very successful. Taught the lions to live with their kids, taught the kids to live with the lions. They thought, let's make a movie about this. And then they said, well, three lions isn't going to be enough. So they brought in like a shit ton more lions. And essentially every single fucking day, somebody would get mauled by a lion on the set of this movie, where the goal of the movie was to show audiences that people and cats can live together. And Mark Maron at the end of it, I think it's just like a clip of him with the phone in front of his face, and it's like where the phone's a little too close, so his face looks like shit, and he's like, "It is fucking nuts."
Wow. I've never heard of it.
The first review on IMDb is a crazy movie made by insane people.
That sounds like what I heard.
If you've seen any single clip from it, you immediately understand why. Like it, like we're not talking like 10 lions. There's like 50
There's a
lions on
shit
There
ton of
is
screen.
a
lions.
ton of
Yeah, there's a
lions.
lot of like enough lions to where you go, how did they get that many lions?
Yeah, where
Like,
did they come from?
how did we get here?
Yeah, no, definitely gonna
And
need
you
to check
ask
that one out.
yourself,
I'm pumped for this week. I don't know about y'all. I didn't write it down. I thought I would have, but Maddie and I, we've postponed. We had a real busy week last week. We've postponed Halloween, so we're gonna watch a few more Halloween movies this week to catch up on lost time. Something I have not watched yet, and I'm close to killing myself over it, is I have not watched Halloween yet. I haven't done it. Pretty
Wow.
sad. Yeah,
that's
Wow.
impressive.
I've seen it twice now. Yeah.
time has gotten away from me. I was going to watch it once, but then Jack said we can't watch that movie or discuss it on this podcast ever. So I just haven't.
I don't know if I said that verbatim, but
No, I'm just teasing. But yeah, I did catch a bit of Halloween 5. I did catch a good chunk of Halloween 20, all on cable, so I wasn't watching well. Maddie and I started Resurrection, but she said, I don't want to watch it like this. So that's good. That's good. I'm glad she gets to hold off. So this
Okay.
year, all that I've seen is Halloween, the first half of Halloween 3, a little bit of Halloween 5, Halloween H2O, Halloween Kills, Halloween 2018, and that's it. Only 5 Halloween movies compared to the usual where we watch all of them,
Same,
but like two.
same dude. So I've seen one, two, three, and then I watched the 2018 on mute at the bar, and then Halloween Kills. So like that's kind of 4.5, honestly. So
I only
Yeah,
watched the one that matters, and that's Halloween 3.
it is a
yeah,
good one. I think our big Halloween 3 episode will have to wait till next year
yeah.
if we're even still kicking by then. Some of us may pass away. I don't know.
What happened?
We just never got
There's just
around to
no
watching
footage.
Halloween.
Oh, like
He's
all
not
the
talking about
Halloween.
He's not talking about Halloween 3 again. He's
Oh
talking about
no.
Halloween.
I mean to discuss a big because Noah and I are
I
so deep in
see.
Halloween. I think listeners would enjoy getting to hear the depth of Halloween brought to them so easily compared to
Yeah.
having to watch all 13 Halloween movies and
Right.
reading on Wikipedia and shit. I think the only set of movies that I would have seen more footage on than Halloween would be the Friday the 13th, just because I think I've seen all of the director's commentaries. Like I think when COVID hit, I watched all the, and I'll do it again. It was really fun hearing
Yeah.
about some of them.
On
Oh, God.
Sean S. Cunningham.
Yeah, exactly. I made a whole Friday the 13th
Yeah.
director's commentary myself as director Sean S. Cunningham that cannot be shown to the public because of copyright issues. God is my witness. I will buy the fucking rights to Friday the 13th so that way the world can see my 20-minute clip. And the 20-minute clip is a piece of shit now because I had to do a fuck ton of editing to try to get it within the margin of error so YouTube's copyright would let me put this shit out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, God.
Do they not know what satire is?
I did
for
watch
educational
a
purposes.
I watched like a Halloween themed movie
Time
that
out,
we've
time
talked
out,
about
time out,
before.
time out. Jack, it's not satire. It's educational. Noah, go.
Mhm.
I watched the movie Trap, the M. Night Shyamalan movie at the concert.
Yeah, what'd you
That's the
think?
one Reid watched.
You did not like it as much as I liked it. I know you.
I did not like it
Yeah,
at
didn't
all.
think you would. Didn't think you
Yeah,
would.
yeah. And like it was one of those movies where I hit pause to see how much longer I
Dude.
had left. And that's like not a good sign, you know.
Wow.
It was didn't like it.
Uh,
I did like the concert
Yeah,
portion better,
that's what I loved.
but even that I didn't think it was that good.
Mm.
I was like,
Mm.
okay, it's a good idea. And then it just got to like an unwatchable territory where I was upset at it. I didn't like it very much.
Mm.
But I watched it. And I'm not upset I watched it because it was a fun concept and there's like some interesting things in it, but didn't like it very much.
I
No.
think towards the end of the concert, I think what do you call that final move in chess? Zudswig? Is that the name of it? Um,
That
Cole
comes up in Beef actually. Yeah.
Zudswig? Is
I don't
that
remember what the term is, but that concept comes up.
Cole in the villain in Twin Peaks season 2, Cooper's
Yep.
nemesis. Zudswig, is that the name of the chess move? It starts with a Z.
You know what? I don't remember, but
An en passant.
that could be right.
Yeah,
Do a
let
quick
me.
do a quick Google
I'm
search.
doing it. Zudswig.
Is
Oh,
is it like an unwinnable situation or something?
Zugswang.
D-
To put it
Doug's Wang.
in
Why are you looking up Doug's
Zugswang.
Wang?
I
Doug
think
Swing.
it's Zug. It shouldn't be Zugswang. That doesn't sound right. I don't think it's Zugswang. It's spelled Zugswang. But
Doug Swang.
moving chess. Zug. I guess it's got to be. Yep, I guess it's Zugswang. Anyway, when he puts M. Night Shyamalan's niece in Zugswang, at the point of the film, essentially what I'm saying, he kind of puts his king out on the line and is like, fuck you to her. Then I think the movie from there is just like drop. Maybe if the movie ended 5 minutes after that, it would have been a neat bow. What do you think of the never-ending endings of that movie?
Yeah, it's something
That
else.
that
It's
sucks. That's like a staircase of fucking.
yeah, it is. It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I hated it. I
I
hated
don't
it.
know. It's a really weird movie. It doesn't have much to say, or I don't know. The six endings thing kills it too.
Six is being so fucking generous, man. Six
Yeah.
is a light fucking number for what
Yeah.
that movie ends with. I'll say I did enjoy it. I did have fun watching it. But you're right. What does it have to offer the world is that it's just another M. Night movie. Like that's all there is to it.
Yep.
He wanted to
Exactly.
make a movie and was like, all right, I'll throw this together. The nepotism for his niece
I
is
It's
think
his
it's his
daughter.
daughter
It's his
his
too.
daughter.
daughter.
It's not his niece.
That
Yeah.
should that should be fucking that should be against the union of
Hmm.
Hollywood, whatever those assholes like to call
She's
themselves.
she's not good at acting.
No,
She's not.
it is it's atrocious
Yeah.
that can be made, that can be done, and that's acceptable nowadays. It's horrible. That role should have gone to somebody else who auditioned for it. But who am
I
I?
agree with you.
Who am I to say all that? I will say I do love the concert and the situation. I do love Josh Hartnett's character, but I think I would rather watch a Josh Hartnett character of that movie being a murderer. And I would rather watch
Yeah.
a different character in the concert situation because that plot of he's trapped in a concert and it's all one big trap thought of completely trying to outsmart him, and he's going to try to outsmart his way out of this fucking trap of a concert. That is balls to the walls a cool setup.
It
And
is. It
M.
is.
Night, I think, just doesn't have it in him anymore. I don't think
Right.
he's had it in him for 20 fucking years.
I agree with you.
Wait, like what's the trap?
The
Can you not
trap
leave the
is
concert?
the trap is Josh Hartnett is a family man. He's also a psychopathic serial killer. But
Okay.
he has this whole fucking Ted Bundy situation where he's just a normal guy living a life, but he's still killing and eating people or some shit. Anyway, but the cops have been tracking him for a long time, and they have finally gotten enough information to narrow down a profile to know exactly what type of a person he is, the exact details of what age a family would be for him, what types of musical interests they would have based on some information they've collected. So they're actually able to narrow down he's going to be at this concert with a daughter. They know that. And so they set up this whole thing, and the whole movie, well, the first, what should have been the whole movie, but then he gets out of the concert, and then you get another 30 fucking minutes. Essentially, most part of the movie is him trying to escape capture and break out of this concert venue. And every step of the fucking way, though, he is in this trying to outsmart them, and they have him. It's cool. It's such a good plot. It's so great. And then M. Night just
Does M Night shit?
does M. Night shit. It's just makes you fucking throw up in your mouth a little bit. Just stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh Hartnett really is good in it. Like he did a good job. So I don't think I could wholeheartedly recommend it though, you know. I'd like say watch a different movie instead. So
Yeah. Yeah. I guess with time away from it, I would recommend other movies, but like, I don't know. I guess if that plot interests anybody, that's why I would recommend it. But like if you're like, oh, this is gonna be great, I'll be like, yeah, temper that a little bit.
yeah.
Noah,
Oh,
would you recommend watching Trap or would you recommend watching the Vikings in prime time?
Uh, it's very, very close. Probably M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. Honest to God.
well,
And
it's the
then
same.
how about a
It's the
double
same.
feature with Old?
Right. Yep.
It's the same premise though, because the Vikings trap you into a feeling of hope, and then they
Exactly.
crush it immediately.
Yep.
Oh
But you know what
gosh.
you could watch instead of both of those things?
What?
Tampopo.
Yeah.
Say like you could
Did
just
you
read a book.
did you finish Tampopo?
I did, dude. Tampopo's awesome.
Well, you better talk about it because
I
yeah,
will talk
I'm
about it.
glad you brought that
If
up. I
you like
forgot.
it calls itself a ramen western, and it is kind of like that because the main plot is like a western movie. Like it's a western plot
Mhm.
because these two truckers come into town and try to help this lady, Tampopo, who's a widow, make the best ramen in the city. And that's the whole plot of like the main plot line. And it's so fucking awesome. And it's so fun. It's a really well-made movie because you can feel the people making it really liked making it. Also, a very young Ken Watanabe is in it, and it took me a minute to realize that's who it was.
What's he from?
He's
Inception.
Inception,
Batman.
Yep.
Batman, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Hmm. I got him. I
That,
got
yep, that him.
him.
Now picture him like 40 years younger with a
That's
cowboy hat, with next to a guy with a cowboy hat.
cool.
But then what this makes this movie so different is that interspersed is different little like miniature stories about food. It's a movie about food basically.
Mhm.
And there's a couple scenes in it that I want to watch people watch because how bizarre they are.
Mhm.
Kind of like, when we watched Racerhead with Cole, and Cole knew he was watching us when certain scenes came on. That's
Yeah.
how I want to do. But it's a genuinely awesome movie, and it's a genuinely funny movie. It's very good.
Who do you know who directs it?
Oh, it's a Japanese. I couldn't tell you off the
Oh,
top of my head.
I don't know.
Juzo Itami.
Yeah, there
Wow.
we go.
Wow.
This guy fucks.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
He,
Did you see
speaking of
that?
which, that director, so he's
Harrison.
famous.
For fucking.
Yes, no, he's famous because all his movies were basically satires and comedic movies about Japanese culture.
Mhm.
And he made one about Japanese gangsters, and then they killed him for it. So it was,
Wow.
yeah.
Cool. Fucking power to the people. Fuck those guys. A bunch of fucking thugs. But
So
yeah. Wow, that's metal. It's a hell of a way to go. Fucking Japanese gang violence because you made a movie.
no,
That's all
it's an
kind
I
of
know if you have Criterion, which I do because I'm a bougie bitch, but I recommend watching it.
It is on Max right
Oh,
now.
it's on Max
Ooh,
now? Watch it on
Tampopo.
Max then.
I
no
might look
bougie.
into it.
I,
Watch
I might
it.
look into that.
Watch it. It's like an hour and a half. It's not
you,
too long.
you called it
It's
a
154.
It calls itself a ramen western. I
yeah,
think it's making fun of it makes fun of it because I think it's a play on like the spaghetti western
hmm.
because it's the Italian.
you,
So
you
that's I
s-
think
you said ramen western. I was like, no idea what that is. I should ask what that is so our audience knows. And then you said it's a western where they're trying to make the best ramen. I was like, okay, it's literally a fucking ramen western.
it literally no, it's a literal western plot line where two rovers come in and help a town or someone get better and then they leave. Like it's literally a western plot line. It's incredible and it's super funny,
I think I
but
will watch that if I
it's
get the
good.
Jack, did you see my comment on your Letterboxd?
I can't remember it, but I did see it.
There is also a documentary called
Mm.
The Making of Tampopo. So
It's
keep
a
an
good
eye.
movie. I highly recommend it.
So there's obviously some good backstory that I'm sure that gets into the director's death too, I would imagine.
I think he went on for about a few more years after it. So, but no, it's a good movie. I highly recommend it. Especially if you have time to kill and you want to watch a fun movie. You'll understand from the very first scene that it's a fun movie. Like it's fairly lighthearted,
Hmm.
apart from a few very erotic scenes. But other than that, very lighthearted.
Now, I will say, yeah, I do think I'm gonna watch that movie this week because that actually sounds really fucking fun. And I could use that. That'd be nice. Speaking of Ken Watanabe, and speaking of last week's Engen talking about watching a movie on a plane, I watched the last movie I ever watched on a plane was Inception. And I had not seen it since the first time I watched it when I was probably about 11 years old. And my brothers were insisting that, Reid, you got to watch this movie. And I was too young to really get it. I knew it was good as a kid, but I was like, nah, like, this is like way up here. Like, as a kid, it's like, I know I'm not really grabbing whatever is going on. I wasn't like, oh, I'll understand it one day. I was just like, that's just sucks. And then I was watching it on the plane. I was like, holy shit, this is one of the best movies ever made, one of the coolest stories I've ever had told and done so well. And we're flying, we're somewhere just about, I think, to the Great Lakes. We've got an hour and a half left on our flight when Maddie and I went to go visit Jack out in Old England way. And hour and a half left on the flight. We're just getting into the third act of this film. We finally get to the final layer of the dreaming, I think. Um, in which Cillian Murphy has got to take some charge here. And we hit turbulence like I have never known or seen shown in a movie or a television show. It wasn't necessarily even turbulence so much as suddenly the plane just dropped out of the sky. We just fucking plummeted very fast and sharp. And then the plane caught and we shook a while. And a few seconds later, dead silence on the plane, we fucking dropped again. And that second drop, it was a moment where I really like I wasn't panicked. I'm not gonna say I was like shrieking or I wasn't like grabbing Maddie next to me, but it really occurred to me how very fucking fragile life is. And I realized in that moment, sitting on this airplane, we could really go down, and it's not my fault. And there's nothing I can do to keep the plane up in the air. There's nothing that can change the situation we're in if I die in 30 seconds from now. I'm just here. And it was a really eye-opening moment. Um, I was very happy in the moment. I thought, I'm very happy I've known all my friends. I'm very happy I've got Maddie next to me. I'm happy that I've done so much in such a short amount of time, however inconsequential it will all be in the end. And the captain came on, and after about 20 minutes of dead silence because they weren't telling us, we kept shaking. He came on and said, "We're going to keep experiencing some light turbulence." Kind of, I took the headphones off, and I did not finish Inception.
Did Christopher Nolan or any of the dream sequences make that situation more scary at all?
I will
Did
say
it enhance your appreciation for life or the fragility of life itself?
there's a lot of shakiness going on in those dreams because they're unstable dreams, in which very well maybe that this could have been going on for about an hour long of the plane actually hitting rough turbulence, and I was just like, "Holy shit, this is a great movie."
Did it make you think you were dreaming?
I wouldn't say it made me felt like I was dreaming. I felt very awake. I was very aware of everything around me when we hit that second drop out of the sky. Oh, and like I didn't. I know you can keep track of where your altitude's at, and for the hour and 30 minutes, I kept my eye on the fucking flight map altimeter shit. Not that that's gonna do any good, but it just at the very least I could know like if we're up or down, where we're at in terms of average. And I didn't have it on, but I know had I been watching it, we would have lost so many fucking thousands of feet. That is for how long this fucking plane was falling out of the sky. And pulling up the altimeter after like 20 minutes of just sitting there looking at the pause screen of fucking Leonardo DiCaprio on the snow-capped mountainside ready to go skiing down with ski force. I then realized I'm going to turn this over. And we were like 34,000 feet and still fucking climbing steep to try to get back up. And yeah, I really like I don't have a fear of flying, but I just don't think I'm ready to get back on a plane anytime soon. And it's not like I'm afraid. Like I'll get from point A to B. Like I'm logically aware I'm going to get there, but it's just like I don't want to do that. I don't want to have that feeling again. I don't want to have another realization in my 20s of like, God damn it, life is short for me and I will be dead soon. So it's like I don't need that again yet. In my 30s, yeah, sure. I'll do it then, but not now. Jesus Christ, not now.
I
Fuck,
fucking hate.
dude.
I fucking hate
Fuck.
flying. I hate flying, but yet I still apply for jobs and shit abroad. So
Ah,
also, I don't know about you, Reid, but I have the experience. For some reason, smoothest flying flight could be perfect, no turbulence, and we're 4 hours on. The moment I get up to go take a piss and I'm in that bathroom, we hit turbulence.
Plain
It's happened
knows.
every time. Has every time.
The pilot's got a camera on you when he sees you
He
stand
has
up.
to.
He's like, all right, buckle
It
in,
ha
Maybe
it's
shake
boys.
things up a little bit.
it happened. It happened to me coming back and forth, and it happened to me on those little bullshit hour-long flights between European countries.
Hmm.
I also, speaking of flights, remember our Edinburgh flight from London to Edinburgh?
The
And the
up and
pilot gets
down.
on and he goes, "It's gonna be about 50-minute flight." And then 20 minutes later, he's like, "We're landing in Edinburgh." And we're like, I'm like,
The hell?
I remember looking over at you because it's been 20 minutes. I was like, "Are we losing air?" And you're like, "I think we are." And then the guy went, "Yeah, we're landing right now." And we're like, "What the fuck? It's been 20 minutes."
Yeah, it felt just like that with the the cities, which is weird because Edinburgh to England was like it's like a 6 hour drive, isn't it? whereas
Yeah.
Duluth to the cities is 2 hours. So it was weird that we had the same kind of anyway. Yeah, that was nice. I'll say after that nasty no good flight Maddie and I took to get back to the States, we're sitting in Minneapolis airport. 4 hours later, be taking another plane up to Duluth was the plan. And I was texting Walshing or I was texting my dad. I was like, "Are you free right now? Can you come pick us up from the airport? Because I don't want to get on this flight." And anyway, with enough time, calm down. And it's like, all right, I'll get back on the second flight. What are the odds we have another bad fucking experience? Um, and I'll cut to the chase. All right, it's not some great story where we have more bad experience. Anyway, in fact, but anyway, the point is we finally we're getting on the plane, and my anxiety is like way up here. Like I'm fucking high strung at this moment. And this fucking pilot comes on and he stumbles just a little bit as he's getting on. And I'm like, oh fuck, this guy's drunk. This pilot's drunk as a skunk. We're gonna die. And anyway, then he came on and he slurred his words a little bit too. And yeah, finally though, in his whole announcement, he was like, "We may experience a little turbulence." I was like, "All right, it's planned turbulence. It's gonna be okay. Even if we fucking drop out of the sky, it's part of the fucking plan. I can account for this." So
Okay,
anyway,
guys. Okay,
Hey,
guys.
just remember,
So, listening to Reid's story, what are his movie recommendations for the next week? I got Flight.
Blight,
Anything
Sully.
else?
Airplane.
Yeah.
Sully,
yeah. We were joking. We were joking, I think
um,
Jack and I, about what would be the worst movies you could queue up on your in-flight list of
Lost.
just yeah,
Well,
awful.
I know
Lost,
too. I put on Uncharted
Castaway.
with Tom Holland, and it opens as a plane crash, and I was on the plane. I was like, "Hey,
What's the Idris Elba Apple TV series? Fuck.
Great.
Oh, Hostage or some shit like that.
You know
Something
more than
like
we
that.
do.
I wouldn't know. I'm gonna try really hard this week for real to watch Tampopo. Is that the name?
Hijack.
That's
Tampopo.
yeah, Tampopo. Probably not Hijack. But then also I really do gotta watch Late Night with the Devil because I feel like I gotta follow. Oh, hey, something else I watched because we talked about it last week. I did end up watching La La Land. I didn't finish it. I didn't finish it. I got to the third act. I get to where you get to they do it by seasons. You get to winter, the final act, where everything's kind of gone to shit between the two characters, and we're kind of in a big fight here. And I just got to a point where I said, I don't really want to watch the rest of this. I want to go to bed and I don't really give a fuck. And I listened to the podcast. I called it, I said it's a miserable story by the end. I said miserable. Miserable is not the right word. I filled the spot there. The word for me is it is a heartbreaking story. For better or for worse, it is fucking heartbreaking. And I don't know if I know another movie other than For Real. I mentioned it last week as well. The only thing more heartbreaking is probably the ending of Schindler's List. Only thing for me.
yeah."
I was gonna say the first 10 minutes are up, but you know that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you like think the story of La La Land's that important because like
It is.
I love that movie,
Yeah.
and I feel like it gets like unfairly judged because it got kind of popular and it like had the Oscar controversy. But like I think it's really great. And like I agree it's super heartbreaking, but I've rewatched it many, many times. Like I love it, love it. It was one of the movies that like got me into movies. So I love me some La La Land.
Yeah, I've only watched it the once, but it is a very tightly, nicely wrapped movie where, like we said last week, it's heartbreaking, but makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling do a really great job of giving their characters a lot of energy in the way they love each other. It's not some like meet cute 24/7 deal where they're actually they do a good job of showing a lot of love and a lot of fighting together.
Have you guys seen Crazy Stupid Love?
Yes, I love that movie.
Now
It
that I'd
is
like to.
yeah, it's probably a top three, top five. Let's say top five rom-com.
Yeah.
It's a great comedy, and
Awesome.
it's what built Ryan and Emma
Hey,
Stone's chemistry together, really.
we are in November, which is the perfect time to watch the best rom-com ever made, which is When Harry Met Sally.
I think the best
I'm
rom-com
probably
ever
gonna
made is
throw it
Planes,
on.
Trains,
It's been a few years.
Automobiles.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's
not
the
a
best one.
rom-com.
Really? But
Yeah, it
you don't think
is.
so? We get
No.
Steve Buscemi and John Candy cuddling in a bed together.
It's not a rom-com. It's
Steve
my
Martin?
favorite movie
Steve
ever.
Martin.
Steve Martin?
Martin?
Steve
Steve Martin?
Martin. Oh, could you
That's Steve
imagine
Buscemi.
Steve
Oh,
Buscemi and
God.
John Candy together?
Different.
That'd be horrible.
Train wreck. That would be horrible. Um, no, Maddie and I on the drive up north, I put together a little list of what we got to watch this fall, her and I, and it's definitely planes, trains. In the month of December, Noah's not gonna like this. I gotta watch Green Book with her just so she can see it, and I won't have to talk about it in great detail here, even though it is a great movie. We had those two movies. We're gonna have to watch Band of Brothers, and she's gonna have to suffer through it. And
It's a
then
December rewatch.
There's no suffering through Band of Brothers. It's awesome.
it's
Yeah, it's pretty
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking great, but you watch a ton of real fucking people get killed in World War II. You get see a bunch of fucking 20-year-old characters get killed.
Yeah.
Sorry if that tickles your funny bone in your
Oh.
pants.
Oh, so we're a bunch of
Yeah.
dudes, Noah. It's more for our demographic. So
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
don't I guess me? I wrote a paper on this, you fuck.
And then when all is said and done, Maddie and I will be starting Twin Peaks, and there's nothing she can say about it to stop me.
Yeah.
And I
What
felt
happens
like
if you
I
said
need-
that there's a fish in the percolator? Would that stop
There's a
you?
fish in the percolator. Don't
sick
drink that
reference.
coffee.
I need to watch what's the movie? The
Fire Walk with Me.
Fire Walk with Me.
That movie's depressing.
It is.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
it's
if
fun.
I need to finish my Twin Peaks journey or continue my Twin Peaks journey, that's the
Have-
next step.
Have you not
Well,
seen
you gotta
the
watch
third
season-
season?
I've only seen the original
2 seasons?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to watch Fire Walk with Me before you watch season 3. That's
Yeah.
I think that's the order.
I watched it, probably 2 years ago. I texted Cole, I'm like, okay, what should I do? And he's like, you should watch the movie. I'm like, fuck. I don't really want to watch it.
You gotta
to
watch
this
it.
day, I still haven't watched it.
Speaking of depressing things, Cole, did you watch Grave of the Fireflies yet?
No, I need to watch it still.
I
I
think
watched Order of the Phoenix the other day, and that was depressing.
that's good enough. Order of the Phoenix is
Yeah.
it's very much akin, kind of almost a shot for shot, some would say. I'll say the best explanation I've heard of Fire Walk with Me as to how it fits in is it's the horror movie in the story.
Mhm.
I think I love that bit of line for it all. There is in the third season, I love the third season. There is a
So good.
piano song. What's the composer's name called? Angelo Badalamenti?
Badalamenti, yep.
Yeah, Badalamenti. First time I ever watched it, I remember I was alone in my room in Duluth, and I was watching season 3. Sort of about 3 years ago now, I think. Maddie and I had just been dating for a few short months, and she was babysitting some dogs out of town, and we were I think Snapchatting even. This was so long ago. I had the Snapchat on my phone. And I was Snapchatting, everything was fine, and the scene comes on. It's about halfway through where piano starts playing and some characters are talking, and it just, I don't know how it hits me so hard, but I just remember I broke down crying. This is like one of the only times I cried. Like I cried from that, I cried from Schindler's List, and I've cried from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. And I think that's it for me. Like I think that's the only time these things get me. The fucking piano in it hits me so hard. We'll drive, Maddie, and we'll drive in the car. I'll play this fucking piano score when we're jamming out, and I fucking break down. I can't fucking help it. Last week, I was playing a bunch of music for the old folks at the home. I started playing that on fucking piano. The only thing, like, I was fucking choking up. The only thing that saved me was I ran out of playable sheet music that was on the link I had. And another 2 fucking notes, and I would have been a goner for the rest of the day.
Have you seen the Iron Mask yet? No, the Iron
The
Claw.
Masked Singer?
The Iron Claw. There we go.
Iron Claw?
Iron Claw? No, not yet. Is that
Oh,
gonna
that's
get me?
that's gonna break you.
Yeah.
That movie
Okay.
is depressing.
I don't
Okay.
know, man. They're very specific things.
We
What,
should go
Engen?
around and say what movie people have cried at.
Yeah, while I'm opening up. Ring my heart there.
Hey, no, Cole and me have one. Cole can agree. Paddington 2, and you know
Yeah.
why? Because that ending
Jesus.
is so good.
Makes you want to be a better man.
Makes you want to be a better man. I'm not even kidding. That joke writes itself. It genuinely is a great
It's
ending.
just genuinely a good movie.
Does Eddie
Paddington
Vedder
3.
show up?
What?
Little Pearl Jam joke for you. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, sorry, no.
Got him.
Noah, you probably got a few, I would imagine.
Oh, I bet every movie makes Noah cry.
I'm a bit of a crier. I've cried at a lot of movies and TV, so where I wouldn't like have a specific because it is a lot of them. But I remember the last time I cried, like over a month ago at this point. I was watching the Linkin Park concert where they have like a girl singer now because Chester killed himself like several years ago,
Yeah.
and they were doing In the End, and it was the girl singing it, and it was so sad to me that I was just like, damn, that is not the same at all, and it made me cry. And that's the last time I cried, and it was like a while ago, but it was at a Linkin Park concert. So
Can I say my favorite Noah crying moment in the movie?
Last Jedi.
No, I was gonna say more for the Planet of the Apes when the monkey
Yeah.
died, but
Oh my god.
The monkey.
I don't know if I've watched that since theaters. Honestly, I'm scared of it because yeah.
I really got to
Which
watch the
one?
second one
War?
out of those.
War, yeah.
That's the most recent one, or that's been a
no,
few?
Kingdom is. I like Kingdom. I know it's
Yeah, we
controversial.
watched. I'm pretty sure I was with you guys when you watched it. Which one died? Like
Don't
the.
spoil. You can't. Don't
Caesar.
start. Oh, nice.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been out for 5 years at this point.
I'm just saying, man. But you're right. You're right. I'm protective of movies, but you're right. It's been a long fucking time, people. If people were gonna watch a trilogy about monkeys,
Sorry,
they would have
Emily.
done it. Sorry.
Sorry to Emily. Yeah.
Engen, do you have a movie that makes you cry?
Mine is not that good. Mine, I was probably 7 years old.
Shrek
It
2.
was no, it was Click.
Oh,
When he's
dude,
in the rain, he's all
dude.
fat and he's in the rain. It's just so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like he can't get back or whatever. Or
Hmm.
Yep.
I don't know exactly. Only time I ever watched it, but yeah,
Nah, I've only
I
watched it
was
once.
bawling.
Yeah,
Also,
I know what you're talking
uh,
about.
what is it? Eight Below, the Paul Walker.
With
Oh
the
yeah.
Huskies. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking yeah. That is sad.
I
Yep.
haven't
Oh
seen
my
that one in a
God.
long time.
That's sadder than Marley and Me, bro. I'm saying it. Hot take, but I think it
Maddie
is.
actually cheers for the death of Marley and Me. It's kind of weird.
I do. Fuck that.
Actively fuck that dog.
But yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great movie, actually. That's a Disney movie, I believe.
I should watch
Hell
Eight
yeah, it
Below
is.
again. Something that saddens me about a lot of like the modern day movies kids get to watch now is like they don't really get to experience that. And I think it's unfair to children.
Yeah.
We need more Iron Giants.
Yeah, and I've never seen that. But anyway, there's so many movies where it should be the most heart-wrenching, this is reality, kid. Get used to it, buddy. You know? Maybe that's dark of me. Maybe that's cynical, but I would rather have my
Nah.
kids watching a movie where a bunch of fucking huskies get fucking they die rather than
Yeah.
like a movie where everything works out and the villain farts himself to death and that's the
Yeah.
ending.
I mean, like, I literally grew up on Friends. Like, my favorite cartoon growing up was Friends, like, not a cartoon. So, yeah, I also agree. Throw the dog death movie at my kids because that's the way it's gonna be. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
Did you say Friends?
yeah,
Well, you can just tell them Chandler's dead, so
yeah.
Dude,
they
sick
aren't
fuck.
really friends in real life.
Audio listeners out here, well, yeah, they're not friends in real life. They let one of their friends die, of a drug overdose. Noah last year, I know we all know this, but Noah last year dressed up as Matthew Perry and got him killed. And then this year, he dressed up as fucking Matthew Lillard, my Matthew Perry, and tried to kill him too. And I'm fucking angry about it. Like, why would you do that? You could have dressed up. You could have got as Harvey Weinstein, bro.
I know.
You could have killed him.
I know. I wanted to know. I wanted to know if it would happen or not, and it did.
Jesus.
It's fine.
You do know that if it did happen, like
We would
that
not have
was-
been friends.
yeah,
anymore.
that would have been. Well,
If
you would
it
have had a
didn't-
cosmic power. That's
If
like
it
Death
happened,
Note.
you guys
That's like
would have
Death
never
Note
heard
sort of
from me
shit.
again.
Oh
I would
my
have been
God.
gone.
Like I
But-
love that man.
Yeah, it was a big risk. Yeah.
But we had to break the curse.
Yep. We had to break it. I had to
Go
know.
big or go home.
Yep.
All right, I think we should wrap this up. I think we've got
When-
ourselves a successful slice of life.
when are you releasing this one?
Tuesday.
Okay.
Bye.
I was going to tell our viewers to go vote.
You can tell them
Yeah.
it will be first thing in the morning on Tuesday. So
They can
Yeah.
still.
Listen
Yeah.
here, fuckers, go vote.
Can you guys vote early in Minnesota?
It was last week. It was
Yeah.
Tuesday.
so not anymore.
Like one day only?
It was like a
No,
week or so.
they extended it because of the lines. So I think it was a few days.
Yeah. Normally I do
Okay.
vote early, but this time I was too busy.
We had like 2 or 3 weeks of early voting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just wild.
I'm excited for this all to be done. I'm so fucking excited to move
Yeah.
on.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a tough one.
But it's gonna be until January, unfortunately. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I know exactly what you mean. And then yeah.
Yeah. If someone wins, it will be.
Every morning at the old folks home, I read the news aft the old folks. And last whatever Thursday, I was reading something. It was about Trump tariffs. And I don't throw my opinion in them. All right. Sometimes if I think something's funny, I'll laugh or crack a joke. But I'm not like reading information and then saying, this is what you old people, not that they care because they all have Alzheimer's. Anyway, but I'm reading this out just so that way they hear the news and they feel included and they get this daily exercise of mental thinking about these bigger ideas of politics. And I'm reading off Trump tariffs, and one of the family members walking by like shouts out something about like the very pro-Trump stuff, and it's like, dude, like shut the fuck up. Like you're welcome to have your opinion, man. Like I don't agree with it with Trump, but you're welcome to have your opinion. But let me read the fucking news, you piece of fucking shit. I'm pretty sure the reason you're fucking here is your relative is on hospice. So shut the fuck up and grieve, you dumb cunt. So I'm very excited to be done.
Jesus Christ.
All right, dude, it's fucking bullshit. For anybody to stick their fucking nose in someone else's business, not cool. Not fucking cool, man. I'm reading a pre-written newspaper.
What are you going like Star Tribune or
Minnesota
local
Star
Rochester?
Tribune is what I get, yeah.
The Star Tribune didn't even endorse someone this year, and it's kind of shitty, but
They're welcome to do whatever the fuck they want. But my job pays fucking shit. And I love these old people. Don't interrupt me when I'm loving these old people. Please, just
do you
let
read
me have my mornings with them.
do you read the obituaries and ask if they knew anyone?
Oh my God.
My grandpa has a joke he tells. He says, yeah, read the obituary every morning to make sure your grandma and I aren't in it.
Not a bad way.
All right, okay, we got to wrap this up. Otherwise, we'll be talking about politics. I would rather talk sports than politics on this because.
Speaking of sports, Vikings won.
All right, let's wrap
Vikings just
this
won,
up.
by the way.
Go Vikes.
Let's go Vikings.
Goal!
Oh, I'm glad I'm a big Vikings fan still. Okay. Let's call it a day, everybody. Go ahead if you're watching this on Mini Movies, tell other people about us. Click subscribe, I guess, on Mini Movies. If you're on Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon listening stuff, whatever you call it, go ahead and give us a good ranking because that bumps us up. Tell your friends about us because then they tell their friends about us. And it's basically this big pyramid scheme where we all get a podcast if everybody hears about this podcast. Our goals here, for those of you listening also, we have goals. Goals here. All of us, we get to jump on the Joe Rogan experience. I don't know if any of us are fans, but it's just a goal because you got to have goals. Matthew Lillard makes it to the next Halloween year. And also, you all tell your friends about this podcast. So, I mean, that third one sounds like something you can all help out about. So go ahead and give it a go. And thank you all for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.